What's going on, guys? My name is Mitch Robs, and today we're going to be talking about everything you need to know about the Crypts Dungeon. We're going to teach you guys some loadouts to pass your 88 Crypts, your 140 Crypts, and even lower level Crypts. And I'm going to give you guys a couple loadout ideas, go over all the traps in the dungeon. We're going to go over the boss fight and everything about it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys like this video, leave a like on the video and as well as comment on it. And perhaps subscribe to the channel. I come out with content like this, a lot of MSK and stuff like that. So thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. So let's talk about the general knowledge base on Crypts Dungeon. So how do we access Crypts? So we're going to come all the way down. We're going to start at Stonewood. We're going to go all the way down till we see this little purplish blue, darkish dungeons area. We're going to click on it, and we're going to see Crypts over here on the far left. This is the first dungeon you have to complete. So we're going to go over a general, base synopsis of what you actually have to do in Crypts. So there are 5 different floors. There's going to be a starting area, there's going to be 3 floors, and then there's going to be a boss fight area. In the starting area and the 3 floors, we're going to have 3 monoliths that we have to take out to get a thing called the Husk Key. On the 3rd monolith, the Husk Key will drop right where the monolith was, and you can pick it up. There's also going to be a key called the Shadow Key. The Shadow Key is going to be randomly located in one of a few set spawns for the Shadow Key, and you have to pick that up as well to advance on. We have to get both keys to advance on to the next floor of the dungeon. Let's talk about the traps that you may encounter in the Crypts Dungeon. So there are 5 different traps that you are going to encounter. The first of these is going to be the shield draining trap. This is going to slowly tick down your shield until it's non-existent if you stand within its radius. The easiest way to take this out is to actually minigun it down to low health, or you can take out the floor underneath it and it'll break. The second trap you're going to encounter is the troll trap. If you get stuck in the troll trap, that is the worst trap to get stuck in. You're stuck in place and you're snared there, while you have to hit a troll and play whack-a-mole with the troll to kill it before you can be set free. The third trap we're going to go over is the wall dart. The wall dart basically works like the wall dart trap that we have to use against husks. It shoots a wall dart out and it damages you with it. We have a falling rocks trap as well. Falling rocks is basically a ceiling drop trap where if you stand underneath the tile that it's in, it'll drop rocks onto you. As well as we have a teleport trap. Teleport traps can be useful, but they teleport you to different randomized locations. So they're set locations, but it's a random location where you teleport to each time. But that should cover the traps that are going to be on the floor and the walls, and that can affect you in the Crypts Dungeon. Let's talk about builds for Crypts Dungeon. So the first build I'm going to suggest for an 88 dungeon, this is the speedrunning build. This is what you're trying to do if you're soloing and you're speedrunning it solo. So we're going to have Commando Spitfire in command. Commando Spitfire is going to decrease our Going Commando cooldown by 66%. That's significant because Going Commando has an insanely long cooldown, and this shortens it even more by 2/3. We're going to have Happy Holidays to even further reduce our ability cooldowns, because we're going to have Shockwave and Grenade, and we're going to have Minigun, which are all super useful in dungeons. We're going to have Doppler Effect, which decreases Shockwave cooldown by 24. And that's important because of a later perk that we're going to have. But we can use Shockwave a lot more often if we have Happy Holidays and a Shockwave cooldown in here. We're going to have Boomstick to increase our Going Commando damage by 25%. Our Going Commando is going to be our Monolith Killer and our Mini-Boss Killer. Going Commando and Lefty and Righty are by far the best abilities in dungeons to break monoliths. We're going to have First Cup of the Day. This is going to be one of our boss killers. This is going to increase our crit rating by 10, and it's going to increase our crit damage when we're using our minigun by 100%. So when we're hitting our shots onto a boss, this is going to allow us to crit with a minigun. We're going to run Fleet so that we have faster movement speed, and that's going to allow us to get around the dungeon faster while we're speedrunning. And we're going to have an Escape Artist, which is going to increase our movement speed after we use Shockwave for 8 seconds. That's where Doppler Effect comes into really use. Is if we're using Doppler Effect, we're decreasing that cooldown, so we're always having Escape Artist up, and we're using that to kill trash mobs around us, so we're using it to get through the dungeon faster. We have Stationary Hover Turret to add a little bit of DPS to our boss phase. And we have Slow Field to for our Panic button, basically. Slow field's a panic button, as well as he slows down the mini boss at the end phase. But that's the general loadout that we're gonna use for Crypts 88 in speedrunning. You basically want to use going commando as much as possible to take out the monoliths, and you want to use it as much as possible on the boss. And this is a 10-second cooldown commando Spitfire build. Another hero loadout I'm going to suggest for a power level 88 dungeon with a commander that you can get even in the event shop right now. So if we go to the event shop, we can see that Cottontail Eagle Eye is part of it, and she's going to be really, really good for destroying the monoliths in an 88 dungeon. So we're going to go to our hero, and we're going to see that she has Phase Shift, she has Shock Tower, and she has Teddy. But her real shining light is her Unexpected Departure Plus. Phase Shift leaves 3 egg bombs, which deal 55 base damage to nearby enemies. This is going to be a monolith killer in an 88 dungeon. So you're going to go right next to a monolith, and you're going to phase shift away. And what that's going to do is drop 3 egg bombs onto that monolith, and it's going to almost one-shot it. There's going to be shifting gears. Phase shift has 1 additional charge, and range is decreased by 0.2 tiles. If you're trying to phase shift to destroy the monoliths, you're really not using your phase shift for range, so the 0.2 tile decrease isn't really that big of a deal per Outlander, and as well as you have more additional charges to use. You're going to have phase siphon, so if you need health, you can just phase shift right through husks, and you're going to be phase shifting through husks a lot when you're killing these monoliths. So you're going to get 12 base health per enemy pass through. Run and stun, so you're going to, if you're dashing through enemies with phase shift, you're going to stun them for 0.5 seconds, and it's going to allow you to escape a little bit better. We're going to have parting gifts, so that any trash mobs get cleaned up by fireworks that are left when you phase shift. We're going to have fleet, so you can increase your movement speed, and we're going to have bomb suit for survivability. This is a completely monolith destroyer, honestly, if I'm being real, in a power level 88 dungeon. You're going to leave those egg bombs, and it's going to just make the monoliths disappear. We're going to have stationary hover turret, and we're going to have slow field as well in our loadout for boss damage for stationary hover turret, and we're going to have slow field for slowing down our boss. But this should be a really good loadout in terms of breaking monoliths, and I'll show you some gameplay footage after this. So we're going to show just how good Cottontail Eagle Eye is breaking at 88 monoliths. We're going to phase shift away from that, and you're going to see the monolith's health pretty much already went down to 0. But we just phase shift while we're next to it, and we can break these monoliths super, super easy. And those are the monoliths destroyed. For power level 140 dungeons, it's a little bit different. Power level 140 dungeons, you have no mini-map, and the bosses are a lot harder to kill, as well as the monoliths are a lot harder to kill. So we need a little bit more firepower in our arsenal. So this is going to be the loadout that I suggest you guys use for the monoliths and for the mini-boss damage in 140 dungeons. So first off, we're going to have Diecast Jonesy. Diecast Jonesy is going to have minigun, grenades, and Warcry. So going commando is going to be our monolith killer, as we suggested, and frag grenades are going to be able to be used to kill all the little trash husks around. So we have Warcry as well. Warcry is going to increase our fire rate, increase our damage, and it's going to be an overall buff to whenever we need it. So popping Warcry right before we use Boomstick in our going commando is going to make us do insane amounts of damage. So Diecast Jonesy's main perk is he increases going commando damage by 50%, and he changes our damage type to energy, which is really important as elemental enemies will go down quicker. But we're going to have that increased 50% damage, so it's going to equal more DPS than something like Commando Spitfire in Command. We're going to have Happy Holidays to decrease our cooldown of minigun by 40%. We're going to have Going Again, so we're going to decrease it by a further 30%. We're going to have around a 45-second cooldown for our minigun, which should be fine when you're going from monolith to monolith. We're going to have First Cup of the Day, so we can increase our crit rating by 10 and increase our crit damage by 100%, so that we can get further crit damage on the boss. We're gonna have space technology. Since our minigun is now energy damage, we're able to utilize Azalea Clark's ability space technology to increase our ability energy damage by 15.5%, to get just an extra little damage boost when we're using it. Now, here's where we're not really speedrunning this class. This is just to get your 140 dungeons done. We're gonna have Survivalist in here, so if you kill a little baby husk, you're gonna be able to get health back with Survivalist, and you're gonna also have Bomb Suit on this to increase your armor and damage resistance by 22, so that you can live a little bit longer in this dungeon. As well as I'm going to suggest Adrenaline Rush, just in case you have to panic and give yourself health. This is a perfect panic button. And for your teammates. And then there's going to be Slow Field. Slow Field's going to also be a panic button where if you're surrounded by husks and you want them to go slower, or in the boss fight you want to slow down the boss, you throw down Slow Field and it's easy wins. But that should be the loadout for 140 dungeons that I suggest you run. This is going to be an overall good monolith killer, and it's going to be the best mini boss killer that you're going to find in dungeons.
Literally nothing I could have done about that.
He bitch smacked me.
My controller died.
GG's. The second class I'm going to suggest for power level 140 dungeons is a Commando Spitfire build. So this build is going to have minigun up every 5 seconds, and it's going to be a monolith killer, and it's going to be a mob clear, as well as it's going to be a mini boss killer. It's not going to be as good as the Dinecast Jonesy build, don't get me wrong, but it's going to be the second best build you're going to find, outside of like maybe a carbide build. But I don't suggest that for Crypts 140, as you can't really box in the boss as well. But we're going to have Commando Spitfire in command. He's going to have Going Commando, he's going to have Frag Grenade, he's going to have Shockwave. It's going to decrease Going Commando cooldown by 66% with Going Again. We're going to have Happy Holidays, which is going to decrease our ability cooldown by 40% even more. And it stacks independently from other cooldown perks, so we're going to get our cooldown down to 10 seconds from that. We're going to have Ain't Done Yet, which increases Going Commando duration by 5 seconds. So from the time we pop our minigun to the time we end our minigun, we're going to only have 5 seconds before we can pop it again. We're going to have Boomstick, which increases our Going Commando damage by 25%. We're going to have First Cup of the Day. We're going to increase our crit rate and crit damage on the boss. We're going to have Survivalist, so we're going to increase our health and gain health back when we kill enemies for 3 seconds. And we're going to have Armor to increase our damage resistance against little husks and stuff like that. We're also going to have Adrenaline Rush as a panic button, and we're going to have Slow Field as a boss slowdown, so you can aim a little bit better on the boss, and as well as a panic button if you need it.
Ammo.
So now we're going to talk about every single location in the Crypts Dungeon and how to find the keys and where the monoliths and stuff like that are. So first things first, you're going to start out in that open area, and you're going to walk over here to the west. There's going to be a location of a key right here, right inside here. There's going to be a key in this house, potentially. A key in this house, potentially. A key right behind here in this church. A key in here. A key underneath in this crypt, which it is right now. A key right here. As well as if we come all the way up here, there could potentially be a key in this crypt where you have to dig down, but you could easily find it if you break this particular floor tile. So it'd be right there. So, the 3 monolith spawns are never changing when you are in the first area, so it's always going to be one over there, one right here, and one right here. So you can get all 3 monolith spawns pretty easily in an 88 dungeon, as long as you are quick about your aim. But here's me just basically mowing it down with Commando Spitfire. So generally, you wanna take out the monolith that's next to your shadow key, so you can pick them up both at the same time, and just shockwave out with your movement speed perk. So we're going through now, and we're gonna go towards the end of the dungeon. So the door is near the middle of the area, and will be marked by a question mark once you picked up both keys. But we're gonna go through. So as we come through, You'll notice there's a bunch of urns and stuff like that. You'll notice the res station. You're gonna walk to the right and you'll see these purple flames. You're gonna keep going forward. You'll notice there's a monolith on the ground to the left and a monolith on the right. If there's a teleporter right here, we can hit both of these monoliths and teleport and potentially get a third monolith. But I'm not gonna do that just for right now. But that's really good to know if you're trying to speedrun it. But there's also a key location down here, which we got right off the bat. So the key location's behind this door, and back here. That's important. There's only, I think, 4 key locations in the first area, and that's one of them. So we're gonna take out both this monolith right here, and the monolith back over there. Alright, so we're gonna continue linearly through this, so you guys get a good general direction of the layout of this tunnel. So there was this monolith here, and then there was the monolith back there on the second floor. We're going to keep going forward through the purple flames. We're going to go down this staircase. As we can go, we can be hitting urns if we really want to. I don't really need it because I have enough tickets. But we're going to take a left. And then potentially there's going to be another key spawn. So you'll see this trap right here. For traps, all you need to do is build it with a cone like this. On a couple tiles, there's specific ones where you need to place floors, but you can place a cone like this, and it won't ever, like, go off. But we're going to take a left, and there's usually going to be a key under here as well. That's one of the key spawns as well. And then we'll get our third monolith right here. Alright, so this is our third monolith, and as well as our fourth. If we get the first two, and we don't get this one, we can bypass this one so that the vampires don't spawn if we get both key spawns. So if we have this trap right here, we can place a cone, and we're not affected by it. We're going to take a left through here. We're going to place a cone wherever there's a trap. We're going to go all the way over here. Alright? So, we've just bypassed that monolith. We've come down this hallway. And we've come over here to the left. To the left right here behind this gateway, there's a key spawn. That's important to know every single key spawn for the 140 dungeons because there's no mini-map. So there's a key spawn, and then if we keep going forward through the dungeon, we're going to take another left, and there's going to be a gate right here. That's unopenable. You have to pickaxe through that, and there's going to be a key spawn right behind it. But I suggest if you've taken out those first two monoliths and you haven't gotten a good teleport, you just take out this last one so that you don't have to worry about the vampire spawning. Or taker spawning. Alright, another good strategy right here is if you're going to have trouble with, with those spawns from this monolith, if you did break the other 3 spawns, is you can potentially cone jump up to here, come across here, and then surround yourself in walls so nothing can shoot you and you can access the door from here. So we're going to grab this key. We're going to skedaddle out of here. Alright, so now we're going to talk about the second floor. So I use, when we're running an 88 dungeon, I'm using Escape Artist a lot in my Shockwave to get my movement speed bonus. But we're going to take a left on through here. We're not going to go down the bottom path, we're going to go up the top path. And there's potentially a teleport here, which you can take. And there's a potentially teleport here you can take. So be looking on that, because the teleports on this map early are pretty huge for speedrunning. But we're going to continue on linearly through the dungeon. There's pretty much only one way you can go. But we're going to continue on. There's going to be a shield draining trap right here. And there's going to be a smasher spawn and a monolith here. And then potentially 2 monoliths in that room. So we're going to take out the shield draining trap. And we can take out the smasher for an extra mini boss when we're ticket farming. But otherwise, you can bypass the smasher. Which I actually suggest doing on multiple occasions, because he gets annoying and can kill you. Especially in the 140 dungeons, if he charges you. But we're going to take out this monolith real quick, and I'll show you guys exactly, like, what 3 monolith spawns you guys can take out. But this is not, like, the optimal monolith spawn, just because, like, you can get 3 in 1 pretty easily elsewhere. But where'd that smasher go? And that's a troll trap. Alright, so we're going to take out the Smasher, though, because I want free mini-boss skills. There we go. So dungeons are also like a hella good source for gold as well. If you guys are struggling on that for your event shop. But we're gonna come on here. All right. So right here, there's a trap normally. There's not a trap right now, but you can't place a cone here. Look, I'm trying all I want. I can't place a cone there. So if that breaks, you're gonna have to place a floor here. Forewarning on that one, I've gotten teleported more than once doing that. So we're gonna go down this staircase. We're gonna go through this. There's potentially a trap right here that you're going to cone off, and you're going to run to the purple flames right here. You're going to take a left down the hallway, and there's going to be a big open room. I suggest immediately cone jumping up so the husk can't get to you. So there's going to be a monolith always right here and a monolith always right here. And then you're going to have left monolith options, and you're going to have right monolith options. So you always want to minigun these two monoliths right here. And then you could potentially get a third one from either side while you're doing this. But we already got the shadow key, so that's good. So we're gonna go over all the key locations now. So let's get rid of a couple of these husks. So there's gonna be a key location in this little monastery. There could potentially be a key location right here, to the right of the door. And there, let me get rid of these husks real quick. There could be a key location to the left of the door right here where this husk is just chilling in jail. We're going to go to the far right, and we're going to look at all the key locations right now. So, the key locations to the right. We're going to come up those stairs. We're going to take a right, and there's actually like 3 different key locations. There's one right next to the monolith. There's one right behind this door. There's one all the way over here to the right that you could potentially have. But we're going to take out this monolith so the husk stops spawning. That can get annoying when showing off these guys. Alright, so those are 3 locations up here. Now we're going to go off to the left and show you guys the key locations. We'll grab this husky just because I don't want to have to go back for it later. We need to get some mats for late phase. But always have mats on you for this fight in particular. So there's going to be this monolith spawn here. You can hit this one or the one that I broke on the right side. And get 3 monoliths in this area if you just pay attention when you're hitting this monolith and the monolith over there. But we're going to come up here. There's going to be a monolith spawn that could spawn behind this door. I want to say there's one that's right here, and then there's one behind this door over to the right. So there's 3 on each side, which is cool. You can find some cheeky little hidden doorways, but realistically, we're using abilities as most of our damage in dungeons, as they're the most reliable damage source, and they're going to pack the most punch. But one of the common strats for speedrunning is, if you have the right monolith spawn, you're going to cone jump up to the right, or you're going to take a teleporter pad into this area right down here. Let's see. Which one is... Oh, it's right up here. So it's like right in there. There's a teleport spawn into there. What you're going to do is you're going to break out of it with your minigun. You're going to build a floor, and you can minigun this, and that monolith and have all 3 at once. Or you can like do them in the order that you want so that you can have the key spawn where you want it to. But I'm going to gather some mats real quick, just so I have some in phase, and you guys will see why. So we're going to grab this trap. And we're gonna run all the way to this to this door spawn. For this one, you can't place a wall behind you, so I suggest putting a ramp. So we're gonna unlock the door and we're gonna go onto floor 3. Floor 3 is a pitfall. So what I suggest doing is, instead of walking around this looping stair, just put a ramp right here, like I did. We're gonna flip this just for teaching's sake. We're gonna place a ramp right here. We're gonna jump off it. And now we're at the ground where we need to be. But there's a huge staircase that you can follow all the way down here, walk around here, and then come down this hallway, and there's a door right here. We walk through it. This is a pretty linear tunnel, and there's not really like too many like good teleport spawns here. But as we keep going, there's a teleport here we're going to avoid. But I'm going to show you guys a couple cool chest spawns. There's one under this bridge. That's going to be a tier 6 chest. And then there's going to be one all the way up here. Up top. There's going to be another good chest. In case you guys do need weapons from the dungeon. So then there's going to be another one up here, and we can get a long arm enforcer, a helium shotgun, which are actually really useful in this, the helium shotgun is. But we're going to keep on going forward through this. There could potentially be a monolith spawn right here, a monolith spawn and over there. So let's get rid of these husks real quick, and we're going to take out this monolith. So what I suggest doing is don't worry about this winding pathway right here. Build your own pathway. So boom, boom. There's going to be a monolith here. And we're going to take out the other one. So this isn't the exact order that I suggest, like if you're trying to speed run, as you can get 3 monolith spawns right here. But I do suggest building across like this versus any other way versus doing this winding path, just because like you can break out the underside of the crypt's little bridgeways, and that's gonna lead to you dying. If you fall down there, you die. So we're gonna keep on going forward. We're gonna jump right here, and we're gonna place a cone. And we're gonna jump right here. So there could potentially be a key spawn right here where this monolith was. There could be a key spawn back here. If you look underneath, there's a windowed little hut right here. There could be one in that little windowed hut as you come across it. We're gonna go to the left. There could be a monolith right here, and if you get a monolith right there, you can potentially hit shockwave, hit this monolith, and this monolith at the same exact time with your going commando, and you can get 3 monoliths all at once. But there's going to be a key spawn all the way back here to the back right, and you can see that's the key spawn we got. But we're going to go ahead and grab that shadow key. And we got the key. Alright, so we're going to continue all the way through this dungeon. There's going to be a couple more key spawns as well. There's going to be a key spawn right here underneath. And there's going to be a key spawn back here. So if you have those 2 key spawns, you just jump down here, you build there, and you go through into here and open up this gate. If you get the other one, you could potentially just floor over there, go into here, and there's going to be a key spawn there. Another of the key spawn is as we come down here, there's a little flame path. We go right, there's going to be a shield draining trap above, and there's going to be this monolith here. This monolith has a key that's directly behind it, as well as it's not going to be the optimal key or monolith that we want to break. If we break only 2 at the starting area, we want to break the last monolith just to prevent the vampires from spawning. So I'm not going to pick up this key yet, just for like, I don't want husks to spawn. So you don't have to ever go back that way. Where are you, little gunslinger? Alright, so we don't ever want to go back this way, as there's really nothing back here worthwhile for us. We want to take a left at this flaming flames. So this next upcoming room is a big deal. There's traps everywhere in here, and you don't want to get caught in it. So what I suggest you do is, look, there's literally a trap right here. There's a trap on this side. There's a trap literally lining the walls of it. So what I do is suggest taking your minigun and literally just minigunning right through the middle where there's no traps. So now that we've taken out that, there's a free path without traps down the middle path. So if we look, there's trap, 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 trap. And we just avoid that by going down the middle and going straight to the door. But let's go get the key real quick. But there also could be potentially a key spawn right at this res station. And then the other shadow key spawn is like right here where this husky is. So we're going to continue on through it. For this one, you can put a wall behind you. This might be a little bit sketchy for that, but we're going to put a wall right there, and then we're going to hit unlock the door. So the reason we brought hover turret into this fight, and as well as our slow field, is just for boss damage to here at the end. But Vlad's about to spawn, and we're going to hit our minigun as soon as you see his skull pop up on the minimap, and we're going to damage him down to 50% health. As you can see, Vlad went down to 50% health and just kind of died. So once that happens, he has a minute where he just doesn't return, and there's going to be mobs just shooting and killing you. So what I suggest doing is cone jumping up here, breaking this wall behind, and there's a free area back here where you can just sit and no mobs can bother you. This is just for survivability purposes. You could definitely do this anywhere else, or you could just cone jump up and attach anywhere. But this is going to be a really, really safe place for you. So Vlad has as soon as the countdown timer happens in the top left corner, Vlad has a 11-second invincibility timer once that ends and he spawns in. So we're gonna count to 9, and then we're gonna pop our minigun and drop our slow field right before that, and throw up our herbo turrets as well. So we're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then we're gonna pop our minigun, and Vlad will be vulnerable again. And then it's GG. So that's basically Crypts Dungeon. It's basically Vlad has a 2-part fight where he is invulnerable for the second part for 11 seconds, and that trips a lot of people up because they start shooting him and wondering why he's not damaging, and then he'll one-shot you in a 140 dungeon. So that's really important to know for the 140 dungeon. But that should be all the key locations and all the monolith locations where you can get 3 at one time. The biggest thing is if you're running it in a group and you're having trouble with dungeons is to run it as a group. You don't want to leave your teammates behind. You don't want them to get stuck in a corridor by themselves. You want to make sure that they're not going in alone. Just because if you guys get split up and you're surrounded by mobs, you're screwed. Or if you get stuck in a troll trap, you're kind of dead. But that's everything about this dungeon that you guys need to know in terms of where the trap locations are, all the keys, all the monoliths. I hope you enjoyed that.